UFC Fight Night, Robert Whittaker versus Ikram Aliskerov in Saudi Arabia just took place. And wow, what a night it was. There was Alexander Volkov versus Sergey Pavlovich. I thought Sergey Pavlovich was going to win because he was good enough to beat Curtis Blaydes, and I put him at the same level as Volkov because Curtis Blaydes and Volkov fought each other and Curtis Blaydes won. So I'm like, oh, if he could beat Curtis Blaydes, Sergey Pavlovich could beat Curtis Blaydes, he can beat Volkov. Because if it wasn't for that Curtis Blaydes fight, you can be like, oh, Tai Tuivasa and Derek Lewis, they're just that fat, blobby, ploddy heavyweight that are not too skilled. And maybe that's who Sergey Pavlovich can beat, but he can't beat anyone higher level. But because he beat Curtis Blaydes, I'm like, oh, he's the real deal. He's definitely gonna beat. He can definitely beat Volkov. But no, I guess I put too much stock in that fight because Volkov beat the shit out of Sergey Pavlovich. He just pieced him up, kept his distance, had great distance management, and just beat the shit out of Sergey Pavlovich from round 1 to round 3. He blooded his face up. And, you know, I guess in hindsight it should have been obvious because Pavlovich seemed really mad that Volkov agreed to the fight, and he was the one making noises about they agreed not to fight each other unless it's for a title, and he kept complaining about that or kept talking about it. So in hindsight, it makes sense that he was upset because after their fight, Volkov said this would happen in their sparring sessions as well. And when Volkov was in the pre-fight press conference was being interviewed, he was making sarcastic jokes all the time about, oh, I'm just going to try and survive in this fight, that's all. And being very self-deprecating, like, you know, Sergey Pavlovich is too good for him. So I guess it was a sign that Volkov felt really confident that he was going to win, and he was just making self-deprecating jokes. But yeah, I guess, I don't know, I had like Sergey Pavlovich like high up there as one of the best heavyweights, and that kind of completely changed my picture of him. Like, now I know for sure Cyril Gane would beat the crap out of him. But maybe not, because maybe Volkov's height was like such a big factor. Because if Tai Tuivasa touched up Cyril Gane, I mean, Cyril Gane won in the end, but he managed to get Cyril Gane in trouble. Maybe Pavlovich would have done the same and got the finish. But most likely, if we're being honest, between Pavlovich and Cyril Gane, now we can say most likely Cyril Gane pieces up Sergey Pavlovich and would have just beat the shit out of Pavlovich the same way Volkov did, most likely. And we also had the main event, Robert Whittaker versus Ikram Aliskerov. And Robert Whittaker knocked the fuck out of Ikram Aliskerov. And yeah, I guess there's levels to this thing. You know, like, Ikram had a couple of knockouts and I'm like, maybe Ikram can win. But the biggest factor that made me think before the fight that there's a great chance Ikram's going to lose, and he's going to lose decided, like he's going to lose in a big way, is his slowness always sticked out to me. Like before the Benoit Saint-Denis and Dustin Poirier fight, Benoit's like bad striking always stuck out to me, or his slow striking. And with Ikram it was the same, he just seemed really slow. So even though I'm like, maybe Ikram is a live underdog, the slowness really stuck in my mind. I'm like, yeah, actually Robert Whittaker will probably win this fight. I thought it might go to, I thought there was a good chance it would last more than one round, but Robert just beat the shit out of him really quickly. And I don't know if Ikram had a full training camp. I know he was training for someone else, so I don't know if he was fully healthy, but man, it's good to see Robert Whittaker get such an amazing victory. Like, he was just too quick, too in and out, and he's destroyed Ikram. And I don't know, Sean Strickland seems adamant that he's going to wait for a title fight and that he's deserving. And I think Dana White seems to be on Sean Strickland's side, and he's not going to force him to fight Robert Whittaker, because Dana White seems to be like impressed. I mean, he was impressed with Strickland's performance versus Costa, even though a lot of people thought it was boring. And he seems to be on Strickland's side, so I think there's a good chance he won't force him to fight Whittaker, but we'll see. So if Whittaker's not going to fight Strickland next, who is he going to fight next? And would the same thing have happened between Robert Whittaker and Chimaev? Maybe not, because Chimaev is a completely different fighter that has been tested more and has great wrestling, so we don't know. There's also been some other great fights, like Felipe Lima choked out his opponent. Volkan Ozdemir knocked out in impressive fashion Johnny Walker. When I saw Johnny Walker as the favorite, I'm like, yeah, no. Volkan Ozdemir is definitely going to win, because I remembered his Volkan Ozdemir's fight with Yuri Prohaska, and I think in that fight, Yuri wasn't famous yet, and I wanted Volkan to win, and if I remember correctly, and Volkan was having some good moments, putting Yuri in danger at some points, and I remembered that. And I thought, Volkan's quite good if that Yuri fight was close, and Walker loses all the time or has trouble with everyone. So I'm definitely going to pick Volkan Ozdemir to win. So when I saw that Volkan Ozdemir was an underdog, I'm like, that's a great underdog. Yeah, I don't agree with those odds. Ozdemir's going to win, and that's what he did. And what other fights were there? There was Nicholas Dalby versus his opponent, but his opponent won. It was a close fight. I think Dalby had some great moments, and it could have gone either way. But yeah, I'm really happy for Robert Whittaker. Sad for Ikram Aliskerov. He seems like a very kind person, and I don't know if he has the goods to ever compete with the top middleweights. The number one negative thing about him is he seems slow. I noticed that about him. But who knows, maybe he'll come back in impressive fashion in his next fight. So Robert Whittaker's next opponent. Who is Robert Whittaker's next opponent most likely going to be? I really wonder. Like and subscribe.